Hi guys, this is Salt from Salt and Pepper. Today I'm going to show you something very different, not related to my brand as such, but I have been asked a couple of times to show how to do a basic client setup for your vendor system for MD Labs. And I will link the manual and all the detailed information down below. So after we bought it, it will land in our object folder and we can just add the HUD and click to unpack it. So what you will see first is all these items that you get, and you will need most of them from the very beginning. So once you have unpacked everything, the first thing I would suggest to do is create your account on the MD website. On the previous video, I've shown you how to do that and how to set up your subscription settings there. And I'm going to link it down below as well. And once you've done that, you can continue with the client setup in World. Then we have the redelivery terminal script. This would need definitely. We will unpack that as well. Did it unpack? Yeah, there. Then this is the 4.1. This is the core vendor script. And then we have various plugins. Now, if you use multiple items or demos within the same vendor prim, you would want this plugin. I'm not going to use it for now. I will just show you the client setup, and for the poses the same. We're not going to do a poses setup, that's slightly different. We're just going to do regular vendors for today. Then we have the remote control. We will need that for the clients. So this needs to be unpacked. And we have the store credit and gift card. We're going to unpack this as well. And now we can start setting up. So I'm using example boxes here for you to show how it will work. So let's say these 3 boxes are your unpacker HUDs or unpacker items, whatever you prefer to use, and you have your products inside there. Now, one very important thing is to name your items properly. This means we have, let's say, I named this for brand, basically use your own brand, and I just named it Bodysuit Black. And what I like to do, I like to put where to unpack, because my unpackers are always HUDs, so they know they can just wear them instead of resing them. You don't have to do that, and just know I have it in brackets, so later the server will actually know that they can ignore whatever is written in the brackets. What is before the brackets is what your actual vendor will have to have as a name as well. So once you have your items, and you see I have the bodysuit white, bodysuit black, and bodysuit rose, right? So I take them into my inventory. You have packed your stuff. I just had read them out so you can see. And let's say this is going to be our vendor. I'm going to put my ad. And for the actual vendors that will hold or sell the items, I put the different textures. Now here, it's very important that we will name it exactly like I told you before. We named it brand bodysuit white. Now my unpacker had the where to unpack. For the vendor itself, we don't need that part because it was in brackets, but we needed whatever was in front. The second one is going to be rose. This was supposed to be the black one. I just put accidentally the wrong texture. Well, we just tint it for now. So let's assume that's the black one. Okay, so they're all named. This will be the vendors. Now, whether you are on the same region, or if you have your store in a different region and your home base, so to speak, somewhere else, wherever you have a calm little spot where you can put your servers, where you can always access them, is a good place for them to be. I usually have them at my home SIM, and my store is on a different SIM, so I don't even have to access my store to do redeliveries or anything. So we will just, for a server, we res a plain cube or whatever you want to use for it. I just use cubes, and I give it just a blank texture and whatever color you prefer. It makes sense that later on you have different servers, because each server can hold 250 items maximum, and you can set them so you have like one server for shirts, one server for skirts, one server for dresses, in any way that you can find them later on, that it's easier to find your items. You still can locate them from the website, like the website is going to tell you your item is in this or that server, but just for your own memory, it's just easier if you sort them properly from the beginning. So I tend to name my servers just redelivery, and this is going to be redelivery 1. You can name them whatever, but this is what the customer will see. Your items was sent from server name. Now your server will need the server scripts, and the server scripts are, let me find them, redelivery script. And what you need is the product server and the mass redelivery scripts. Those two go into your server in any other server you will create later on as well. They need only those two, and this remains. Now we're going to go to our objects and put in our 3 bodysuits that we have. This is the product that will be sent. And now you see on the hover text it says not active. If we click it, you get a menu. You can actually even set a text. So we say this has tops, for example. So it will show you later on, for you easier to remember. You can list products. You can do a mass redelivery from here. So everybody who ever purchased a specific item can get a redelivery. And we have to set it to active for it to work, and that's all you have to do. Now your server is ready to go. It also shows you here that we have 3 products and the capacity is 250, so you know exactly how much you have left. So we're going to hop back to the website, and we're going to set the postfix. This is something if you want the brackets with the where to unpack, which I explained before. You click the advanced in the first store management tab and click change, and we're going to set where to unpack. Make sure you have a space here in the front so it will know to read that as well, and then you just click save. And now we can go back to the in-world setup. Now the setup for the items. We want, in this case, 3 scripts per vendor. It's going to be the core script and 2 plugins. Don't worry about the amount of scripts. These scripts basically sleep and come on only active when they're toggled, when somebody's buying something. So it's not laggy at all. They're basically sleeping in the background. So don't worry about the plugins. So what we need is, where is my core script? So what I like to do is to create a new folder. We have to go to the inventory for that. Scripts. I haven't put it in there yet. So where is it? MD vendor system. Let me put this in the script folder so I can actually find what I'm looking for. Okay. So I'm going to create a new folder in here, and I just name it all. And I'm going to copy the scripts that I need. It's the core script. Then we need the plugin, the remote control. And then we need the credit rewards term. Oh, that's the rewards terminal. We need the plugin, store credit plugin. So we have the store credit, gift card, remote, and core, 2 plugins and the main. And now I just select all those 3, go into the contents tab and just drag and drop them into every vendor. Now if you always use the same plugins, it's just easier to have them all in one spot to drag and drop them later. Now you see they all show us touch to setup, and this is exactly what we're going to do because we need to confirm and allow give permissions to actually access our account. This is something that is basically scripted in by Linden Lab, and so this needs to be done for every vendor. Don't do this too fast, like give it time between each, especially when you're changing systems and you have to set up your whole store. I know this takes time, but just go one by one and don't have like 20 clicked at one because it's going to overload and you might run into issues. So don't be too fast, have a little patience with that. So now we're going to set them as clients. That means that later on you will not have to drop your items into the vendors, so the vendors will hold the scripts only, and therefore it's much easier to do redeliveries later or exchange items, especially if you have them in a busy event, so you don't have to teleport in there. So we click the vendor and click plugins, and we click remote control, and we set it to client. Now we select terminal, that means it will connect to the server. You will have your servers listed here. Since we have only one, we click one. And because we named the item correctly and we have the postfix of where to unpack, it already found the item in there and tells us it's going to connect to brand bodysuit white. And we only have to confirm this. You can see also in local chat that it will confirm that vendor. So, and we just close the menu and we will do this for the other 2 as well. So plugins, remote, client, terminal, redelivery 1 as it is in there. And this, you see, it connects automatically. Server item brand bodysuit rose is where it's going to be connected to, and we click confirm and close it. And we do the same for the last one. Plugins, remote, client, terminal, redelivery 1, and we see here item brand bodysuit black, confirm. That's it. Now everything is set as clients, and we're going to go to the website and apply the rest. So we come back to our website where we set up the account before, and we're going to create a preset that will help us to set various settings to multiple vendors at once. It wants a refresh because we haven't been on there for a while. Okay, so it refreshed, and right now we don't have any presets in there, obviously, because we haven't created any. By the way, you can also hide the background, so maybe it's more easy to read that way. And we're going to click Create Preset. And now you have to name your preset. For the name, I suggest that you have the price that will hold or that will be held in that preset inside the name. And I personally use different presets for stores or for events, as for example, my store allows store credit, the events do not. So, or like for my events, you can set it as you wish, but let's say we call it $2.99 event, because this is going to be for an event. I don't want to assign anything yet because I want to use that preset for multiple things later on. And so basically you need the name here only. Then let's see the main settings. We will set the price, which will be $2.99. I can already choose an event route, but again, we just want a clean preset that we can reuse multiple times. If you have a specific price for single items, fat packs, or whatever, you can create as many preset as you like. You will see during the time how many you will need. If you have a split share with other avatars, you can enter their name or UUID in here and also adjust the percentage. You can actually split between, in total between 3 avatars. You can add 2 avatars to split 2. And we can select a discount if we want for this particular one. And you can also select if this discount should be applied to your group only or to everybody. If it's applied to group only, make sure your vendors are set to that group. And if it's to group only, it will refund the discount with the person actually wearing the active tag. If it's set to everybody, then it will already show the discounted price and will not refund anything. But if you have a difference, then also the vendor needs to understand where the difference is, and it's shown by the customer wearing the tag, so it will refund in that case. We just want a plain price. For the advanced settings, you can also set limited items if you want to do such thing. We have 45 seconds for timeout for the vendor. I would recommend to leave that in the beginning. It's usually quite the best to have. You can have notifications if you have a sale. You can the hover text is something that shows the customer if the vendor is busy or not, if they don't use a direct pay, so I would leave that too. Direct pay is already enabled. And the don't exclude or exclude from all is, I will show you in world, there's an all button, and it will apply to all your vendors in a region unless you have excluded them. I have 4 of my vendors and I have about 2,000 on my sim. I have 4 of them excluded, which are the gift cards. So if I do discounts for the whole store, which takes 2 seconds to make, my gift cards are not touched. I still can set them to a discount, but I just have to do that manually. But this way, I don't do it accidentally. Usually by default, the vendor is set to buy and gift. You can choose between different options. I would recommend to leave both. Credit settings. If you want to give store credits, so you can give a certain percentage of to a group. And you can also say, okay, my store group gets, for example, 10%, but everybody else gets also 5%. So let's say we will set a store for non-group members for 5%. And gift with credits means they can use their credits, be it gift cards credits or store credits, to use to gift items to others. By default, it's allowed. Personally, I don't allow it simply because, unfortunately, my experience showed me it was misused quite a lot of times, so I prefer not to have that option. So if you want to use your credits, be it gift card or store credits, you can use them for yourself. But if you want to gift the item to somebody else, you will have to pay with Linden dollars. Allow gift cards or don't allow gift cards depends if you use them, period. I allow gift cards for all of my vendors, and the promo codes is a very special thing where you can do special promotions. Generally, I don't have promo codes on. I turn them on if I have a promo code going for that specific time. I don't have it set in the preset. So main things are set. We click create. And we get the green light here, and it says event created, preset created with $2.99. So what now I'm going to do, I'm going to select apply preset under the 3 dots here, and it will show me in the drop down. I only have 3 items now, so I will select just those 3. Before I click apply, let me show you, you can also associate a preset or you can assign. I would recommend to use assign only. Associate is like a stronger bond. It's also explained below here. When associating a preset to a vendor, you're applying the preset by also linking the vendor to the selected preset. So if it resets, it will go back later on to the event preset or whatever you had in there. So if you had changes later on and it resets, your changes will be gone. And in some cases, this can be good because you can access the vendors in a different way, but usually it's something you would not want. So I never actually use the associate one. So I always use just apply. This way, if I want to change it later and it resets for whatever reason, or if you have to reset, it jumps back to the latest settings it had before and not the preset that was given first. So that's very important to understand. Apply, and if I click apply now, we're going to go right back to our Second Life. And now you can see the vendors are set for sale already because the preset applied, and I don't see any hover text anymore. So if I click the vendor, I already see it has the brand bodysuit white and it has the price set as we selected in the preset. So this way you can very quickly set up multiple vendors at once. If we click the menu by right-clicking and we go into the owner menu, you can also see how it's set up. It's set with $2.99. You will also see your profit if somebody buys it. When you do a test buy, it will not show in your profit because if you buy your items, your own items, it's not actually a profit, so it doesn't mess with your stats. So if you want to see that, buy with an alt or from a friend or whoever to see actually something moving in there. And we can go now into plugins again, and let's see credits. And it shows us that we have set a 5% discount, 5% store credit for non-group members. So it will also show you whatever you have set. Generally, like if you have to reset a vendor, it will remember all those settings. So let's say you prepared at home and have everything set up, and we're going to pick this up because we're going to go to an event and we're going to take this as a soft link into our inventory. We pretend we just teleported to the event we wanted in, and we res it out again as a link in edit tab. You will see it will ask you again to touch to set up, but it will remember the settings. You will have to grant permissions once more. That's just a thing the way Linden Lab made it. But all your settings will be remembered. So if we're going to go to access and allow it, it will still show not for sale. And I'm going to show you the all button now. I'm going to click one. We're going to just set it for sale because all the settings are there. And now I can choose between this and all. Now the all button is very powerful because it will affect all vendors in the whole region. So you can set this way, you can set a discount, a price, or anything for everything. It's powerful but dangerous at the same time because I would not recommend to try to set a price and then hit apply all. You might have issues in your store then. In this case, we just want them for sale. I click all. It wants me to confirm that I actually want this to apply to all, because once you have applied something to all, you cannot revert it. So be careful with that button. We set it to sale, and now all of them are for sale. Because we picked up the vendors before, in our website, it still knows it's the same vendors that we have. In the products that, let me refresh. In the products, they will not show up yet because there is no stats about them. They were not sold yet, so this is why we can't see them. But we do see them in our sales tab. So it also shows us that 0 items are sold, but we also see we have only 3 vendors, although we we took them back to inventory and re-res them again. This means the system recognizes it's the same vendor and doesn't bring you a second vendor in there. However, you might have the case of having a satellite store, for example, and you do want 2 vendors with the same name on different regions. So if you want them on different regions, you will have to pick them up as a copy. So let's say we're gonna take them into our inventory, and after your first res, now we have them in our inventory already. So you could take a copy into your inventory. And now I have the vendor in here. Now let's pretend this is my second sim, and I will res the same vendor here. Again, it will ask me for a setup. I will give them access. It will restore the settings, and I will set them all for sale. And now I hope it realizes that because it was on the same sim. I haven't tried it. You should use this on different locations. I'm going to see what it did, because now if we're going to refresh this, it worked. So they're all in one region now, but we pretend we have 2 different regions, and they also have the same settings. But if I change the settings on one region, it will not affect the other. So you can change them separately, but it sees I actually have the same vendor with the same settings on a different region. So I hope this helped a little bit for your client setup. And if you have more questions or concern, leave a comment down below, and join the MD Discord server. There are always people around to help. And definitely check out the manual where everything is explained in detail again. Thank you for watching.